Hello, welcome back to the AL Central Rundown. Last Sunday, before actual regular season games are being played, we have one more team to preview. We're going to talk about them in a minute with the White Sox. And then also, we have some over unders we want to go over and just do our own little kind of wrap up spring training stuff. But first, we do have some housekeeping news. It has been basically an entire, obviously, spring training. We really haven't focused a lot on who's doing what. Kevin McGonigal is going to make Lee get a tattoo of him to get on the opening day roster. Other than that, we really haven't talked too much about that because we've been dealing with the season, but the Twins did a couple of interesting cuts this week, and then also I just saw that Reese Hoskins was selected by the Guardians, and then a very late addition for the White Sox signed a catcher to a major league contract, which is making us wonder what is going on. So we should probably just touch on those first. So why don't we go in last season's division winning order and start with the defending champions, Cleveland Guardians.
Thank you, Eric, for that wonderful introduction. Yeah, we'll start with Hoskins since you mentioned that. That's just hot off the press in the last hour or so. His contract was selected by the Guardians. He had a solid spring. I remember talking about when they signed him, if it's a dud, if he doesn't kind of show up, they've lost nothing in this case. And in this case, I don't think that's going to be happening at all. I think this guy's going to be probably hitting fifth in the order a lot of days, playing first base or DH in a lot for the Guardians because he had a solid spring, looks healthy. I do have just a couple other quick hits here that I want to mention. We talked about on the show a few weeks back about the starting rotation and who was going to be the opening day starter for the Guardians. They finally announced that this week. That's going to be Tanner Bybee, not Gavin Williams. So Bybee did not get the opportunity last year. He got food poisoning. Sam put something in his Chipotle in Kansas City, and that was the end of that. He'll get his opportunity this year. And like I kind of framed it a couple weeks back, it's a matter of Bybee's been kind of the more consistent. I hate to say elder statesman. It's only been 3 years, but he's been the most prominent, prolific individual in that rotation for longer than Williams. Williams started shined really bright at the end of last year. It's a good 1-2 punch to have, but Bybee's going to get the nod. Additionally, Logan Allen, who was projected to be the Guardians' number 5 starter coming into the season, didn't make the team, was optioned down to AAA. Parker Messick won that 5th spot instead. Allen had a horrific spring training. If I'm not mistaken, his line in his last appearance was something like 12 runs allowed. Um, so did not end on the right foot there. So the alternative, Messick was solid. I think his ERA was in the twos over the course of the spring, and obviously he showed some really good signs at the end of last year. So decision made there. The Guardians rotation will be Bybee, Williams, Slade Ciccone, Joey Cantillo, and Parker Messick. I also want to mention real quick on the pitching side, Peyton Paulette, the Rule 5 pick they got from Chicago this year. He has been told he's making the team, so he'll be probably the last man out of the bullpen, but did make the team and is not going back to the White Sox at this point in time. And lastly, but not least, ladies and gentlemen, our great national nightmare is over. Nolan Jones was sent down to AAA as well. He passed through waivers and he was afforded the opportunity to go down to AAA and collect his $2 million for this year or become a free agent. He's taken the $2 million and going to AAA. Um, I anticipate seeing a lot of Angel Martinez early in the year. In that George Valera is probably going to start the year on the IL, and Martinez had a really good spring as well. 1 OPS. I think he has like 6 doubles over the course of the spring, so I would expect to see him early and often, at least to start the season. I think that's everything I wanted to hit. Probably a little bit more than you guys were expecting, but there has been some moving and shaking with the Guardians roster here, trying to get things in place before the season starts.
So last year, Sam held a candle in remembrance of MJ Melendez. Do you have anything to burn for Nolan Jones?
I don't, and I'm not quite at that level of fed up that Sam was with MJ Melendez. I was frustrated with kind of the way things were going with Jones. Why they decided to tender him a contract, I still don't entirely understand. But He'll go out on AAA. He'll work on some things. Maybe he'll figure it out. He went to Driveline this past winter. That didn't seem to do anything. He was not particularly good this spring, and obviously didn't make the team.
I'll say I'm just as surprised as you are. I wish the Twins would do something very similar with another corner left-handed bat with Trevor Larnach, but they won't because he's double the salary of Nolan Jones. But let's see who got second in the. Oh yeah, the Tigers got second last year.
God, I'm so sick of that. Just so you know. But yeah, nothing too exciting, I guess, because our roster was fairly set on what we kind of expected is going to be going into spring training. Only thing of note, really, is that Austin Slater was granted his release. He had a good spring, but ultimately, there's just not really room on our roster right now. They don't. I guess they don't feel comfortable just outright cutting like Meadows or Perez or anyone in order to make room for Slater on the roster. So he was granted his release. And then, but the big one right now is Kevin McGonigal is still with the major league team right now. He's part of the 43 members who are traveling with the major league roster. They're in Arizona to play the Rockies a couple times in exhibition games. But he is still with the team. He has not been sent down to the minor league camp at all. So we'll see. Hinch has basically said that it's going to be a last minute decision because I mean I talked about he started out he was like really good, performing really well in spring and he still was, but he was like 1 for 15 on breaking balls or something for a little bit, so there was some concern with that. But also he just looked really good defensively as well. Like it's yeah. So like I said, last minute decision. It might depend on whether Sweeney is going to need to go on the 60-day IL because I still haven't heard anything about that. It could be that. I don't know what is like the one thing that is holding them back, but they want to really make sure that they're making the right decision because they don't want to rush him. But also at the same time, they want to make the roster the best roster it can be. And if that means they have Kevin McGonigal start on the major league team, then that's what's going to end up happening. So, yeah, last minute decision for sure, but worth noting, he's still with the team right now.
So now, he hasn't gotten past Double A, correct? McGonigal?
Correct. He played for about 2 months in Double A last year, and he looked very good.
And he's still only 21.
Yeah. If he does not make it on the opening day roster, like... Is this going to be a situation where he goes to AAA for like 3 weeks and then comes to the majors?
Very possible, because it might just be dependent on get him more at bats against more MLB close pitching, because you're going to see more of that in AAA than you necessarily. Because like spring training is you're seeing a lot of like, guys who were drafted last year or like, stuff like that. So you're not exactly going up against major league talent all the time. He has gotten hits off of major league talent, but it's not, it might just be like, give him 3 weeks, make sure that he's okay, and then pull him up.
Right. Does anyone, so I guess Lee, what do you think? What the chances of him being on the roster opening day?
I really think it's a coin flip. Because maybe that's a cop-out answer, but I really think it could go either way. Because Harris has been very, like, on the side of don't rush your players, right? Because as much as it would be helpful to have a guy who can hit like him right now, if it's not gonna end up helping the team, and if it could hurt McGonigal, we don't want that long term, right? But at the same time, I mean, Jackson Jobe only had like 3 starts at the AAA level before he was called up to the majors. We don't have a lot of great options at shortstop. He's, because like if Trey Sweeney is out, McKinstry's bat is questionable. Javi Baez's bat is questionable. McGonigal has showed great defense. Why not? If he's going to make this team better, I mean, just based on how he's looked in spring training compared to like the major league players on this team, he would be like the 3rd or 4th best hitter on the Tigers lineup. So why not just pull him up? But yeah, I don't know. I think it really could go either way.
Now, I mean, I don't know nearly as much as you do. I think it's 25%. Like, I think it's not unheard of to go from Double A to the majors. It does happen. It probably happens once every decade or so. I don't know, whatever. I remember Aaron Hicks did it for the Twins. That didn't work out well. I guess like my main point with why I don't think he will be. You're probably only going to have to wait a month anyway, and then someone's going to get injured, or like at least let him prove through like 100 at bats in AAA that he can hit the next level before. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
But granted, they also know more about the holes in his swing based on what he's done this spring training, outside of just the what 100, 200 pitches he's seen in a batter's box in a live game. They've seen batting like live BPs. They've seen all of that stuff for him. They know a lot about where the holes in his swing are right now. If they do believe now, if they believe like the breaking ball stuff is an actual weakness, he will get shredded. There's no reason to give someone that good, like that bad of a taste in their mouth, if they're just going to get shredded in the majors. But who knows?
Yeah.
You could also not make the opening day roster. Javi Baez pulls a hamstring 2 weeks in, and then he's up anyway. But I don't know. I don't see the reason to rush him, but maybe I'm in the minority here.
I just think he's done everything conceivable to put himself in a position to be on this opening day roster. What else does he need to do at this point? I would have him on. That's my opinion. Um, I would. He's earned it.
Sure.
Miguel Cabrera skipped AAA.
There you go.
Oh, so
That's a
you
lot
go.
of weight to put on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And Miguel Cabrera was 19 as well.
Yeah.
And played in
Also,
a World
not for the
Series that
Tigers, which
first
is
year.
something I regularly forget.
So, yeah, that's a good one. So Dan also played in a World Series his rookie year. So Kevin McGonigal, you just got to do what Miguel Cabrera did.
Yep.
Don't mind. Just a first ballot Hall of Fame career.
All that stuff
don't
is
worry
on the
about
table, Kevin.
it. Yeah. What you waiting for? I suspect he will have over 400 plate appearances by the end of the year. You will see plenty of Kevin McGonigal. All right, so third, have the Royals done anything in the last?
They've done a little bit here and there. We can go through just a few things. Sent down my Royals position breakdown was somewhat correct because Stephen Kolek, Ryan Bergert, and Luinder Avila were all optioned to AAA. I had those guys as sort of other pitching options. They'll be depth pieces / trade chips for, moves at the trade deadline or for, what have you, injuries, whatever. Looks like Michael Massey. Go ahead.
Not to interrupt you, Sam, just really quickly. WBC champion Luinder Avila, by the way.
Yes,
That's all I wanted to say.
WBC champion Luinder Avila. Teammates, of course, with WBC MVP Michael Garcia, or Michael Garcia, as they kept on calling him during the broadcast.
Of course.
You'd think that someone who's involved at just any stage of the WBC, as far as, putting the event on, managing the event, would look up how to pronounce the players' names. But seeing as how
baseball player, Sam, it doesn't even have to be special for the WBC. You just want to sound like you know what you're talking about. From an MLB perspective.
Sorry. But when Team US, go ahead, Lee.
Whoever was announcing for Pool C, was it, with Japan and Czech?
There you go.
They did a really good job of pronouncing all the names correctly. Like you could tell that he put done his research and put a lot of effort into it.
Steven Nelson, he did a great job. I agree. I remember that.
Now, as far as mispronouncing names, now if only there was a very convenient website that hosted every baseball player that would have a handy pronunciation phonetically on their page. If only they could find that certain page. If that only existed. That poor guy.
As great as the WBC was, there was some level of incompetence going on by some members, both on the field and off the field. The WBC. But anyway, that's enough about that.
Sorry.
The Royals, again, not surprising moves. Looks like Michael Massey is dealing with a little calf injury. Looks like he's kind of nursing a little tweak to that. He's going to stay in Arizona for extended spring training for a little while. we'll see if he's back in time for Game 1. Fortunately for the Royals, their first game isn't until Friday night. It was originally scheduled for Thursday night in Atlanta, but then the Braves decided they wanted to move it to Friday night. So that is, that'll give the Royals an extra day, or give Massey rather an extra day to come back from that. But still, rosters do need to be in by Wednesday because Wednesday is the first game between the Giants and the Yankees. So, not a bunch of surprises. Cole Reagans was announced opening day starter, so he'll be going against Chris Sale Friday night. So that'll be one of the premier pitching matchups for opening day, I think, in MLB. So not a ton of moves, but most of them are just kind of what we expected.
Yeah. I was going to use the WBC as a transition to talk about Joe Ryan basically being told that he was not needed for the championship game, which was really kind of bizarre. Because Joe Ryan, for those, when he was actually traded to the Twins, he was on the collegiate. He was on the amateur Team USA for the Olympics with Simeon Wood Richardson's. They were actually traded for each other in the same trade deadline on the same Team USA. Like, it was very weird coincidence that. But he was originally going to be as part of like the big three with Skeens and Scooble and then Ryan. And then got a sore back, and his first start was scratched, and then worked his way back. The Twins aligned the start so that he would be able to play one of the WBC games if he was needed. He was, I guess, like, his car was packed. He was ready to go to the airport, and Team USA said, "Don't worry about it. We'll get you next time," which is a little bit of a dick move.
There is no one who came out of this tournament worse. There is no one who is just like the only person who looks bad. Maybe not the only person, but the person whose reputation is just absolutely tarnished from this WBC is Mark DeRosa because of that, because of not knowing the rules, because of all these just that dude.
Who he has for inspirational speeches in the locker room.
Who he has for inspirational speeches in the locker room. That's correct. Yeah.
Are we sure?
Mark DeRosa,
Are we sure he didn't show up to Marlins Park the day after the final? Like, I'm ready for game 2.
Yeah.
What are we doing? It's a 7-game series, right?
Or was he a sleeper cell for Venezuela? And that's really what and his plan came to fruition.
No, he was
this is what happens.
That's why he punted, because his last name is DeRosa. I mean, come on, that's Italian if I've ever heard one.
This is what happens when you hire just a talking head off of TV to, do an important job. But enough talking about the current U.S. administration, Eric.
Oh, I would. If this was about the current U.S. administration, there would be a tone shift, and I wouldn't shut up for the next 3.5 days. So anyway, for actual Twins news, me and Dan did the first Twins, the first season preview about a month ago, and I had about a list of about, 97 pitchers that might make the Twins' opening day roster. And I was pretty confident that Liam Hendricks was going to be one of them, and they cut him like 3 days ago, which made everyone in Minnesota go, huh? Which, don't get me wrong, I don't think anyone was under the illusion that Liam Hendricks has a time machine to go back to 2021. But when you look at the rest of the name on the Twins bullpen, at least there is someone who has been a closer other than Taylor Rogers who would need that same time machine to be effective. So it was a little weird. They also cut Andrew Chafin, which I'll be honest is not as big of a shock, but still a little bit of a shock. He was throwing up to 89, averaging 86 on that fastball, which I guess for him is pretty good. It's just a little interesting that they cut both those guys, because now the bullpen, which was already not, we'll say, the best in baseball, is really not looking great. So and a good example is yesterday when Dan was looking at Fangraphs, he had to go into our Discord group and ask me, who is Cody Lawyerson? And I had to tell him, he's a guy the Twins DFA'd, lost to the Angels, who DFA'd him, and then the Twins claimed him back before spring training. That's the caliber of player who is now likely or possible to make the Twins opening day bullpen. So who knows? It's good news for Cody Thunderberg, who actually has some upside, but he's still a 28-year-old reliever. Who knows? Someone's going to get some opportunities in this bullpen. We'll see who takes advantage of them, or more importantly, who doesn't take advantage of them. I do think this opens the door for Dan Attavilla. So there was one former White Sox off the roster, and just add another one in. So there you go, Ty. You can cheer for him and his monstrous goatee.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
How do you feel about a relief pitcher that is averaging 6.4 K per nine against AA competition?
Are you talking Justin Topa? Because
No, I'm not.
I mean, it's not great either way. But who?
How do you feel about that same relief pitcher having 6.4 walk per nine against AA competition?
Double A's had a lot of improvements over the years, Dan.
I just described Liam Hendricks' stats this spring.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, it's spring.
Yeah.
I get that, but doesn't show positive outlook.
He did have shoulder surgery, so it shouldn't be surprising that he had a high walk percentage, and like maybe his location isn't quite there, and maybe the Twins just decided like we can't. If it's going to take him April or May to get his location back, it probably isn't worth having him in the bullpen, which is understandable. But I mean, who really knows? And then probably, what's the other little bit of news? Zebby Matthews was sent down, which I'm kind of torn on this because one, Mick Abel has looked fantastic. The fastball has been up to 100. He's had pretty good control. I think his walks are a little bit high, but that's always going to be a concern with him. He has looked dominant with multiple pitches over the spring, so that's really exciting to see him. You now have a fifth spot in the rotation that has pretty good upside if he can turn it around. And then I was already the conductor on the Zebby Matthews to the bullpen train, so maybe this is another step in that direction, but he's likely going to need to be the sixth starter for a couple of weeks in AAA, and then we will probably see him in the bullpen around the June or July period, unless he turns around. Zebby, feel free to turn around and be a really good starter. Prove me wrong. I dare you. But that's really it for the Twins. So we're going to go over the over-unders at the end of this episode, and we'll see how these, I don't know, two middle relievers, formerly good middle relievers, got cut, and then how Mick Abel does. But
I don't think that moved. I don't think that moved the line too much on the over under.
I think that's kind of my well, that sucks. We don't have Chafin and we don't have Hendricks, but does it really matter? All right, and finally, and then this will be our segue. The White Sox. Ty, what have they done in the last week, and then what are they going to do in the season?
They just within the last hour 2 hours signed Reese McGuire, catcher, to a 1-year major league contract. I think let's just transition because I have more thoughts than I think I can communicate here. So let's get into this. Here we go.
I swear to God, if this next slide has Comic Sans or really bad Photoshop, I don't know what I'm going to do.
It's even worse.
Great.
So welcome everybody to the 2026 White Sox preview. I'm very happy to walk you through what will hopefully be a great season. So I can't live up to some of the expectations that we've seen on this podcast over the last couple weeks, but what I can tell you is the recent history. How did we get here? We started in 2020, the bubble, all of that. We did good. We won. I think we won the AL Central. 2021, we go 93-69. All of a sudden, we have some issues with our manager. People start underperforming. Injuries happen. All of a sudden, in 2022, we're we went 81-81. It's a disappointment of a season, but at the end of the day, we're gonna get better next year. We're gonna get better next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there we were in 2023 where we just dive bombed. Lost 20 additional games than the year previous, and then when we felt like we hit the floor. Apparently, there's a basement or a second level of the basement, if you will, where we won the worst record in America in league history. Um, yeah, I'm gonna say won that because
I was about to say
obviously
one
we
for
were
the
trying.
irony of
If they weren't trying to, I don't know. Anyway,
No other explanation.
no other explanation. Thank you, Lee. And then last year we ended up back to where we were the year before, but with basically an overhauled roster to a certain extent. Which brings us to I wanted to bring up the opening day roster because this is really interesting. When you look at the last like 10 years, I mean, of any team realistically, but especially for the White Sox, like if I go back to 2018 or 2019, I could not tell you what their opening day lineup was. I have no clue. You go here to 2025, and I'm like, all right, there's some names I'll be able to remember in a couple of years, but the fact that Jacob Amaya started at shortstop
I was gonna say, who the hell is Jacob Amaya? I do not remember this man.
doesn't exist on a roster anymore.
he was
The
a
fact
former top 100 prospect in like 2016, like going back that decade.
Yeah. And then you have, retired Michael A. Taylor. I think he's a coach on another team in the division or on
Twins.
the Angels. On the Twins, that's right.
Yeah.
Luis Robert Jr., a wonderful name in White Sox history, is now sporting a jersey in the Bronx over in the Mets organization. Andrew Vaughn no longer exists in the White Sox organization. He's with the Brewers now, who kicked Hoskins out of a job to get him onto the Guardians. So you're welcome, Dan. And then Slater. Okay, we just talked about him earlier with Detroit, not making the roster there. I was kind of surprised to hear that. But you just see a bunch of names, and it's like, okay, this is kind of uninspired. Like you could definitely tell at the beginning of last year, we're waiting for those reinforcements to come up, and I think that's a good transition into where we're going. Any questions here about our great history of standings or our 25 opening day roster?
I'll
I'm
just
kind
say
of
real
curious.
quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, I'll just say Jacob Amaya is currently a non-roster invitee on the Arizona Diamondbacks camp. So you go from being an opening day starter to being a non-roster invitee. That's not what you're looking for.
Terrible.
I'm kind of curious, is because they had basically the same record. When you look at 2023 and compare it to last season, which season do you think was like? I guess I'm just asking, which season was better? Like, which team did you think was better? If you can compare the two in any meaningful way.
2025. Well, so that's the thing. Which half of 2025? Because 2023 we were bad the whole time. 2025 we were terrible in the first half, and we started doing slightly better in the second half, and that's what leads us to where we are now. So I'd take the 25 team, the second half of the 25 team, every time.
Gotcha.
But that's kind of where we're at. All right, so we're going to move into our positional breakdowns. I start with talking a little bit about where we're at. Who do we have that might be going with the roster this year? Who might show up in the position this year? I like to call out where we were in the overall ranking based on WAR for the entire league, and then just a little fun, show you where we ended up in the WAR ranking for just our division. So for catching, we do have Corey Lee on the roster. Kyle Teal went down with a grade 2 hamstring strain, if I remember correctly. So he'll be out at least for 6 weeks, and then I assume a rehab assignment. And then we have Edgar Caro, who was the primary backup catcher or side-by-side catcher last year. And then in the top right corner, you see that we signed Reese McGuire earlier today. This doesn't make any sense to me. The idea that Teal is going to be back in 6 weeks, realistic 6 to 8 weeks, whatever it is, come back 100% healthy. That's your only goal, Teal. The fact that we got Reese McGuire, a proven backup catcher, like no shade towards him, unless we're getting rid of Corey Lee or and even like Drew Romo shouldn't impact this whatsoever. I don't understand it. It doesn't make a lot of it unless Teal's gonna be out longer, unless Lee or Caro got hurt. It doesn't make sense, and we're not aware of what's going on at this point.
I don't think this is the case, but I know there are a lot of questions on Kiero's defense behind the plate. Do you think this is like they're good? Like, I don't know. I'm assuming Corey Lee's out of options, but like the backup plan to Kiero if he cannot play catcher. It still doesn't make sense to me because Corey Lee would just play, but I don't
Correct.
know.
I can't see any reason why they'd play McGuire over Lee unless Lee got hurt or he's going to get traded. One or the other. It does not make any sense.
Does this seem like Kiero's like this because he was a rookie last year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
This might seem a bit like soon, but like, is this really his last chance to prove with the White Sox he can play catcher? Like, is this the longest run he's gonna get as a catcher in Chicago?
See, and he was always, what it sounded like to me was that they were always going to run out Teal and Caro back to back so that there wasn't a lot of issues with worrying about injuries. We always had that back and forth, right? The ebb and the flow. With Teal out, I don't know if they're just taking the extra precaution. Caro should have a long runway to prove that he is a major league catcher, that if they did want to raise his value to potentially trade him later, this is a great opportunity to do that. But it's all about he has the offense. He had the offense, and I do have a Savant page on the next slide, but he has no reason to lose a position other than being absolutely abysmal defensively, which I believe framing was his big issue. So, but with the ABS, it doesn't matter as much anymore. So we're really curious to pay attention to that into the season. But I do want to call out before we go to our Savant pages that for the catching position in 2025 that we were ranked 8th in the league at 1.2 WAR, and I honestly was really surprised that we were first in the AL Central in terms
I think
of WAR.
Jake Rogers might have been a negative WAR player. So
yeah,
I know Christian Vasquez was, so like, yeah.
So that brings us to our Savant pages. I just call out Caro and Teal here. Once again, I don't think Lee's going to be a huge player in terms of the catching position, other than, just giving back up to Caro until Teal gets back. But also that might not be the case either. You can see that Caro, he has a squared up percentage. He's really good with the chase percentage. I mean, there's a lot of things to like with Caro's offense, with his bat. You look at the catching, obviously the not great with the defensive metrics or pop time, all of that, but still not abysmal. I mean, framing in the 1%, okay, 1 percentile. But then going over to Teal, he didn't qualify to fully. He didn't have enough plate appearances last year because he came up. I want to say it was May or June. Don't quote me on that. But you see the sweet spot percentage. You see that what he does with the bat is also something to look forward to. But once again, for him, just getting back healthy is the main goal right now. Any questions on our catching position before I give you my 2026 AL Central Division WAR rank position prediction?
Nope.
I think we are going to. So once again, we ranked first last year in the division. I think this year we will rank third in WAR in the division. I think we will go down.
Who do you think is going to be above?
Kansas City guaranteed.
Okay.
I look with a name like Dingler. Like, how do you not root for him? Like Dylan Dingler and I think Kansas City's split between Perez and the younger prospect. I don't have the name off the top of my head. Jensen, thank you. I think there's realistic. It's going to be more of a battle this year, if you will. No comments on that. So
Nope.
we will transition to first base. In 2025, we ranked 29th at -3 WAR. It was a fantastic year of figuring out between Ryan Noda, I believe Ryan Noda, Andrew Vaughn. We had a little bit of Lenine Sosa. I believe Meade played a little bit. It was a hodgepodge of whoever plays there, plays there. Oh, Miguel Vargas played there as well. We did rank fifth in WAR in the division. Um, surprise, surprise. So you see two people on the slide that ultimately will get at least a couple games at first base this year. That is Lenine Sosa and Curtis Meade. I don't have a lot to talk about with them, to be honest. I'm going to talk about Sosa a little bit later. What's more important to me is Munetaka Murakami. And what I'd like to point out when it comes to Munetaka Murakami, there's a lot of projections here, and what it comes down to is he's going to be good in some way. Now, does that end up being a top 10 first baseman in the league? Probably not, but he's not going to end us at 29th in WAR at the first baseman position this year. I my projection when you're looking at best case scenario, he's going to be our sole all-star with 40 home runs and 100 RBIs. That is his ceiling. When you look at what's realistically going to happen, he's going to hit 30 home runs off of a bunch of relievers that don't throw super super fast or just aren't that good prospect, whatever it may be. He's going to strike out a lot. We know that going into it. We talked about how he's a 3 true outcomes type of player, and honestly, the realistic, the bare minimum, we're not going to post a negative WAR at first base this year. That's where I think we need him to be.
Can I give you three names? I know you're going to do like your projections, so I'm going to tie it into this. I'm going to give you three names, and you're going to give me like a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and if they have the exact season as them. Like, you're going to be happy if they have their season. We'll start off with Vinny Pasquantino. If he has the same, okay. I'm going to go, oh my goodness, I'm thinking of Manzardo. Ooh, okay. Josh Bell. Okay. So you hate Kyle Manzardo. I would like that to be known on the record.
I think when you look at, I think Vinny's just going to go off this year. I really do. I think all the hype around him, and look, I'm on the hype train. It's fine. But I'm a Vinny Pasquantino fan now, so it is what it is.
Yeah, we got plenty of room on the Vinny train.
And then Spencer Torkelson.
Which Torkelson are we getting?
That's the question.
That's the question.
That is the question.
I think so. Leading that into my prediction for the division, I think we will rank third because I don't think he'll spend all of his games at first base. I think he might end up playing more DH as well, so that we give him some time off because we only have him for 2 years as of right now. You figure he's going to want to get that defensive ability to go out and play every other day, whatever that may be. But I don't think we're going to push him in any way, shape, or form as he gets used to the MLB.
Have you heard anything about how he's looking over there at first? I know that the glove wasn't necessarily a sure thing either.
All I've heard is that coaches are very happy with the progress he's making and that the mindset that he's bringing every day is a positive one, right? He's trying to work with the guys. He's trying to do what he can to make progress. And honestly, if it's not something that you're super great at, it's not going to happen overnight. And I haven't heard of any negatives to that.
Also, not for nothing, it cannot be, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago, he did play third base in Japan, which I know is not MLB level, but it's not like he was a bad defensive first baseman in Japan. He was a really bad third baseman in Japan. Like, first base, I'm sorry, Wash. It's probably the easiest position to learn on the fly. Maybe left field, whatever. But he can be, there's a world where he's fine. Is he going to be the most athletic looking first baseman you've seen? No, but who is? Like Josh Bell is in his 12th year of being a really crappy first baseman.
Yep.
But we
He's
all
got a
know that
lot
Josh
of
Bell, being a Twins first baseman, is going to get the Gold Glove this
Well,
year.
of course. Well, they're the back-to-back Gold Glove champs, so may as well make it a. If the Twins get a third in a row, I mean, they're the who's ever like a declining
Their
first
infield
baseman,
coach, or their first base infield coach, is clearly the best in
yes,
the business.
or they have some dirty photos of the vote getters who have to cast their vote.
And my biggest question when it comes to Murakami is how many games does he play at first base? My hope is that it's over 100 because I don't want to see Meade and Sosa over there that often. But if it is, once again, I don't know what conversations have happened behind the scenes. If they want to try to make sure that he stays as healthy as possible, give him a couple of DH days here and there, I don't think that's unrealistic to believe.
For what it's worth, he played 6 games at first and 1 DH in his 7 games in spring training. I don't know what he played in Japan, but or for the
Pretty sure he was
WBC.
third base in Japan for WBC.
He was at third base for Japan.
He was at first.
First, okay.
He was at first. And I will say for everyone, I would not expect him to play any games at third base unless a lot of things go wrong this year. I would say first base and DH would be his 2 positions. So with that leads us to our second baseman on the Chicago White Sox. We have our primary opening day starter. I think this is already set in stone. It's going to be Chase Mydroth. Came up last year, was a rookie. We have Acuna and Sosa. We talked about them a little bit already, but with Chase, he's really gritty. He gets on base a lot. The major question for this year, is it enough for him to keep his job? He gave a 1.3 WAR over not a full season last year. I think it was somewhere above the 122. Sorry, I could look at my slide. But so with those 40 extra games, where does he get to? Does he get to a 2 WAR player, which I think that's kind of the goal specifically for him and his ceiling right now? Not having to give the position up to Acuna, to Sosa, or even the Italian WPC team knows how good Sam Antonacci is. So there's also a potential of him playing really well in Double-A or Triple-A this early in the season, and Mydroth having to fight him off. So I'm very interested to see how that works out. But sorry, going back to the slide, we did end up in 25th in WAR rank last year for second base, negative 1.6 WAR, 5th in division. What I think is important to call out here, when you look at Mydroth, I understand the expected batting average is not great. The ELO, Mydroth isn't here to hit. Mydroth is here to get on base. If we don't have people on base, we won't have anyone for our home run hitters like Murakami to actually score someone. I think that is his sole purpose for existing on this team. You see that is for fielding, that he did have 2 outs above average. So it's not bad second baseman play. But he also did play some shortstop, which I believe lowered his metrics there as well. All that to say, I think best case scenario is Chase is going to be our leadoff hitter all year. He's going to play 140 plus games at second base, and he's just going to prove that he is our leadoff hitter for the next couple years, and he's going to cement that second base job. But more realistically, he's going to play to that 1 WAR, and really there's going to be a lot of pressure to not lose that job over the course of the season.
Does anyone else? I'm not going to say he is going to have this career because this would be a very good career for his player type. But does anyone reminded of David Eckstein with Mydroth? A lot of on base, no power at all, but just kind of a scrappy, a little bit slower. I don't think he has the speed of Eckstein, but at least with the plate control with no power, which is very rare. If MLB pitchers they don't care if you hit a single. Ask Luis Ariz. So it's just interesting that he gets on base that much with that little power.
And I just
I
want
think
to
that's a
point
good
out
comp.
what's also interesting is that a lot of the other, like when you look at someone like Murakami, if he's swinging at a lot of strikes, you need someone to rack up pitch count. You can't just have. We've had years in the past with the White Sox where it was 4 to 6 pitch innings, and that's not sustainable, right? Like first pitch swing, you're out like 3 times in a row, and now we're sitting here. The opposing pitcher has 20 pitches in the third inning. Uh-oh. So once again, having someone like my drop at the top of the lineup to have that eye to take those pitches is just super valuable for the team overall. So with that, I will say that our divisional prediction rank is we're going to go from 5th to 4th.
Now, Ty, do you think that this year Chase Mydroth is going to drop a pop fly and that pop fly is going to hit him in the head again, like what happened last year?
I don't know what you're talking about, Sam. I never saw that.
Okay,
Doesn't-
well, whenever I see Chase Mydroth, just the first thing that comes to my mind is the ball hitting him on the head and him just looking up like,
I don't know why. Whenever there's a pop up to the pitcher, I always think of the White Sox are the team that lets that drop.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And maybe it's just because that's hot, that Hawk Harrelson, like no, like whatever that is. But I don't know if that's. It's always interesting when I see that.
Our fielding is going to be a lot better this year. Put me on the saying that. So
you're saying you're going to be fourth. Who is? I'm curious on these. Not to put you on the spot, but who?
so for this one, it's really going to be a dice roll. I think someone in the division will be worse than Mydroth at second base this year.
See, I think he's going to be like second base is not great against the division. You have Torres in Detroit is probably the runaway. Then you're probably looking at Luke Keeschel in Minnesota because there's nothing in Kansas City, and I don't think there's much in Cleveland. So I think he has a legitimate chance at third, and that's assuming Luke Keeschel doesn't have like a regression year.
And that's
He could be
assuming
second.
Mydroth doesn't regress as well. Keep that in mind.
it sounds like Ty
Bazana
thinks
might come
Jonathan
up
India is
and
going to have a
wreck
big
that.
comeback season.
Or sorry, Dan and then Sam.
I was going to say Bazana might come up and wreck that theory at some
This is
point.
true.
But
Yeah, that's a good point. Sounds like you're predicting Jonathan India is going to have a comeback season, Ty. Big bounce back in
I don't know.
2026.
I mean, if you have a negative 0.5 WAR, and he has a negative 0.6 WAR, I mean, was it really a comeback? Anyway. All right, moving to third base.
That was harsh but fair.
We have Curtis Mead, Miguel Vargas, and Lenine Sosa for the 2025. Across the league, we ranked 25th at negative 1.7. I was actually surprised to see that. And we were 4th in the division. Our opening day primary is going to be Miguel Vargas. We got him from the Dodgers a couple of years ago. He's continually done a little bit better every year, whether it was his offense, whether it was defense, just overall. This will be his first year that realistically he does not have to bounce all over the place unless Murakami gets hurt. So hoping that doesn't occur. Mead would realistically be his primary backup since Mead can at least play first and third base, I believe. The kind of best case scenario is that he continues. You saw that his OPS jumped up to 717 last year. If he can put up an 800 OPS, that is the goal for me. Just getting a little bit higher, showing your prowess, that the process that you've been going through. He seems to be very high on himself that he'll be able to produce more this year. So we're excited to see that, definitely. But once again, I think he's one of those guys where the White Sox will throw you wherever there's a position open, and you might just benefit from a lot of stability. Like, hey, I just want to play third base all year. Leave me alone. So I think he's going to be one of the people that benefit from that.
Is the defense a concern? Or what's
playing all games at third base? No.
Okay.
I don't know where first base comes in. I believe he played at least a game or two in left field. I'm going to say If he's at third base the whole year, I'm not saying he's going to have 3-4 outs above average, but he should be 0 to -1. I think that's realistic.
He had
And
50 extra. Oh, sorry. You can
go
finish
ahead.
your
Go
thought.
ahead.
He had 50 extra base hits last year. He had
Yeah.
16 home runs, 32 doubles, 2 triples. Where do you think would be, and if you want to break it up or if you just want to give me one flat number, that's fine. But if Vargas is going to be successful, I imagine it's going to be because he hits. Where would you like to see that number be this year? Like, what's success for him? Where like, okay, this guy is an established major league hitter that we can feel like we can lean on a little bit.
To me, it's not even about extra base hits. It's about making contact and getting on base. Like seeing that average bounce up to like 260, 270. Once again, I think that gets you closer to that OPS. It seems like he has a good eye. I believe he was one of the ones in our team that had a better ABS challenge. I don't hold me to that, but I think if he just raises those just a couple of points, I think it's going to be a huge difference maker.
If he puts the
Like,
ball in play more often, he's going to get more extra base hits off of that. I get it. That's a good
100%.
point. Yeah.
So with that being said, once again, he was fourth, or we were fourth last year in WAR in the division. I think that we also end at fourth in the division this year. And cop out answer, again, it's going to be a dice roll to see who ends up in fifth, but I don't think we will be the worst in the division.
I wonder who's going to be first. Is there like a clear-cut great third baseman in the division?
I don't know. I might have to.
I think McKinstry is really going to build on his Silver Slugger from last
Right.
year.
I thought you were going to go hot take Sam and say Michael was gonna do it, which I think I wouldn't think is ridiculous.
It'd be a warm take, not quite a hot take, but like
yeah.
it's getting there.
I mean, Jose's another year older, so
Yep.
that's always a factor. And Michael could be as good as him in a single season, perhaps. Who knows?
But guys, you haven't mentioned Royce Lewis, and his vibes are up this spring training. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
I think we
Now,
just figured out his fifth.
has there been an article written, or has Royce Lewis said that he's in the best shape of his life?
He hasn't, but the vibes are good this year. He likes the manager. That's been like the whole talking about. He's had a decent spring training, but it has been like, yeah, and Royce is feeling good this year. He's like he's peppy. He's his old self. Okay, whatever.
The best mental shape of his life.
Yes.
There you go.
How's his hamstring though? Is that in good shape?
We don't talk about that. His hamstring just pulled talking about it.
All right, moving into shortstop, we have two primary personnel that are going to be playing shortstop this year, unless Sam Antonacci proves me wrong. We have Colson Montgomery, and his backup would realistically be Chase Mydroth. We ranked 20th in WAR last year at 0.4, and our rank in the division was second. I don't know if we're ever going to get first, let's be honest.
Good luck.
But I want everyone to keep this in mind, that when you have somebody whose name has been brought up along the likes of Kyle Schwarber, Shohei Ohtani, and other all-stars that kind of lead our game, that regarding the home runs that he hit in the second half with Colson, I think we're in a good spot. It's easy to say that we're in a good spot. Now, when you look at his Savant page with Montgomery, his fielding alone earns him a spot on the roster. Anything that he does with his power, with getting on base, and his just hitting for average is just icing on the cake. I mean, once again, I don't have the numbers for everyone else in the division here, but I think he's the second best shortstop fielder in our division. If anyone would like to prove me wrong, but
Not Minnesota.
So the thing is, for me, there is a potential. In the beginning of last year, he went to Arizona. He fixed his swing. There's going to be regression. The question is, how much regression is there? Is he going to lose himself at the plate, or is he starting to build that mental prowess that it takes to adapt to pitching over the course of an MLB season? I genuinely believe that he will be able to play the entire year at shortstop. Once again, that's 130 plus, as long as he doesn't have any issues. I believe he has a lingering back issue over the course of the last couple years. So as long as that doesn't keep him out more than 30 games, I think 130 would be a perfect amount of game for him to play. I could see him getting some time between shortstop and DH as well.
What would you put if you wanted to, whatever your preferred all-in-one statistic is, what is a successful season for Colson Montgomery, whether that's in terms of OPS plus, WAR, ...
With hitting 21 homers in the second half, you'd really like to see that number hit 30.
Mm-hmm.
I have no reason to believe the fielding is going to go anywhere. That's going to be there. Can you stay consistent around behind the plate? And he does use a different type of bat, torpedo bat. I think he's going to be okay. I do wonder if he tries to adjust his approach to try to hit for more average, but I think that's going to be something he learns about over the course of the season.
And by the way, also, did you happen to say that he was the best fielding shortstop in the division? Second best? Okay. I think I might have misheard you there. So
Don't
I just
worry,
wanted
Sam.
to wanted to make sure that was clarified for me.
But he does have the potential to mirror, maybe not be as good, but similar to the number one.
Yeah. Well, again, as I've said on this, maybe not on this podcast, but I've definitely said in our Discord chat, when Bobby Witt Jr. was coming up, his weakness was labeled as defense. So,
Yeah.
But it also goes to show that if a guy has a good defensive, skills, that doesn't usually go down. That usually only goes up.
Right.
He seems like someone who can rack up a lot of WAR easily. Not easily, and like anyone can do it, but he plays shortstop. He has a lot of power. He plays a great defense. He could if he could have a 6 WAR season because he's playing shortstop, and if he does hit 30 home runs, but obviously there's other factors in that as well.
That'd be really nice, Eric. I'd love that.
He's such an interesting player to me in the sense of everything that you just said, Ty. But I was just looking at this. There were 3 players last year that had 20 homers and less than 10 doubles. The other 2 are New York Yankees, which makes sense playing in that ballpark. It's hard to hit a double. It's a lot easier to hit a home run. There are Giancarlo Stanton and Trent Grisham. And then Colson Montgomery. Some of that is the fact Montgomery played only 70 games. He would have hit more doubles if he played more than 70 games. It's just the profile is kind of bizarre to me. It's a power hitting shortstop who doesn't hit a lot of doubles, at least so far. I think he has the potential to be a star in this division and in the league, in my opinion, genuinely.
I definitely agree with that. I would just be concerned if he starts, swinging and missing more, because if he's not hitting home runs, he's not really hitting a lot in general. I mean, 33% of his hits were home runs last year? That's insane. If his home runs start going down, if he gets weaker contact, is he going to, he's not getting a lot of other hits? That's what I would be concerned about.
And it's more about how does he adjust, given the fact that he did provide such this hey, I am someone you have to worry about behind the plate, how do pitchers adjust in terms of how they're approaching him. I think that's going to make a huge difference as well.
That's coming.
Even just looking at speaking of his profile, I'm trying to figure out how he is such a good defensive shortstop. He doesn't have a great arm. He doesn't have a lot of speed. So it has to be positioning and just IQ and instinct. Is that what we're
range?
Reaction.
Well, that's it. It's the range, but to me, the range is the all-encompassing. The outs above average is the big stats, like WAR, to where arm strength, speed, put out, like all those kind of add into it. But I don't know. It's just interesting to me that his arm strength is below average for the league. His sprint speed is 46 percentile, which is slow for a shortstop.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I mean, he just has to have incredible jumps. Like he just has to know where the ball is going right when it happens. But
And I would say that baseball intelligence, that fielding positioning, I think those would be the reasons 100% why. And I do want to call out that all this to say he is going to might start profiling more as a third baseman than as a shortstop. With our draft coming up this year, we do have a number one potential shortstop going that a better Troy Tulowitzki. So we'll see how that all turns out.
well, let's not put him off. Let's not put pressure on someone who's not in the organization yet. But
Never know. Never know. Alrighty, moving to the positions I'm not as excited to talk about. We have left field. In left field, last year we ranked 28th in the league with a negative 2.2 WAR. We ranked 4th in the division. I believe there was only was it Kansas City that had the worst left fielder in the league.
That would be Mr. MJ Melendez, who you're thinking of. Who's he's not on the team anymore.
He's not on the team anymore. So you can see how I'm a little worried. Benintendi is a left fielder. He played 69 games in left field last year.
nice.
I don't think that number is going up.
It better not. I don't know. I would
But
have.
he's your highest paid player in franchise history, right? Don't you? Don't you want your highest paid player to be on the field?
You know, if there wasn't another position I was more worried about, this would be my position I'm most worried about.
Speaking of Royals left fielders, by the way, did you know that Benintendi won a Gold Glove with the Royals back in like 2021?
Yeah. We were trying to position ourselves to be the younger brother of the Royals. It seems like we've kind of strayed away from that a little bit, but at least in 2023 and 24, it seems like that's exactly what we wanted to do. Now, we talk about who else is going to be seeing times in left field. So Derek Hill is projected for center. If he does not win the center job over Acuna, I could see him getting time in left field. Tristan Peters is projected as a left fielder. I don't think that he's going to get an opening job out of spring training. I think there might be potential for him to work his way in later in the season. I was really surprised. I don't remember watching a game where Corey Lee was in left field, but apparently he played at least once or twice last year, and he definitely has played left field during spring training. So I don't know what to do with that. I'm kind of scared. It sounds like Lee's just trying to expand on what positions he can play so he can play longer and be part of a team. All this to say, Benintendi is still going to play. He's still going to play a bunch of games. But realistically, as we're talking about left field, I think he plays more DH than he plays left field this year. And that's really scary to discuss. I think the worst case scenario is that he ends up getting DFA'd or he's injured for more than 75% of the season. And I think it's realistic to believe that we end up in 5th in the division in terms of rank from the WAR from the left field position. So not very high. Also, Sam Antonacci did play some left field in spring training as well. So I just want to call that out. He might make a name for himself in left field.
Was Piera injured or was he playing in the WBC?
Piera was injured.
Okay.
For, I want to say, the first half of spring training.
For what it's worth, in 25 plate appearances, he had a 1. OPS. Does that matter? No, but would I be looking for literally any reason to kick Andrew Benintendi out of left field? Yes.
For me, I think it's more important that we get someone that's going to play every single day because we have an injured left fielder. Are we really going to put another injured left fielder out there? That's the question. I'm very curious to see what they do with the left field position. Once again, I did say that we would end up in 5th, but I told you that this also wasn't the position I was most worried about. Does anyone know that Brooks Baldwin hasn't played a game since March 6th?
I didn't know that.
No.
Where's he
And
been?
Of 2026, I hope.
Of 2026, correct. He might be going for Tommy John. There hasn't been any formal communications, but he has arm soreness and he hasn't played in almost 3 weeks. That's scary. Baldwin, obviously, not the hope that he's the opening day center fielder, but that's what it was projecting to be. Now, what it comes down to is you have Acuna and you have Hill. Acuna, as we all know, a switch hitting. Oh, I mean, sorry, only one side of the plate kind of guy who just never got the runway on the Mets, which going back to that whole conversation, seeing that he played 95 games last year, that he had only played 2 games in center field, it still really scares me that they're banking on him. Now, I will say, as of yesterday, Acuna had a 1.1 OPS, and Derek Hill had a .925 OPS. So in terms of offense, we should be okay. And realistically, any of these 4 guys you put in center field, I believe they're fast. I don't know about Kelenic, to be honest with you, but Acuna, Baldwin, Hill, they're all fast. They're going to play good defense. What matters is how much are they bringing at the plate in their offense.
I just want to say about this photo of this baseball reference page you brought up real quick. I had to check this. Kelenic is 1 year older than Brooks Baldwin. He looks like he could be Baldwin's dad.
Yep.
Like, Baldwin looks so young, and maybe it's just the bias of I feel like Jared Kelenic. We all in our mind think that he's an older player. But yeah, those two sitting next to each other look. There's a huge age difference there, even though it's only 1 year.
I just like the picture that always goes around of the MLB top prospects in 2021. It's Wander Franco, Gunnar Henderson, Spencer Torkelson, Jared Kelenic, and Julio Rodriguez. What a list.
Yeah. Very hit or
Some
miss.
real good and some real bad there.
Yeah.
Where's Franco at these days? Anyone know?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, don't Google that. For what it's worth, Acuna not playing. The Mets have Tyrone Taylor, who is an 84th percentile center fielder for outs above average. For what that's worth.
Ty, would it make you feel any better if I told you that Acuna played 41 games in the minors in center field?
No.
Okay, that's fair. It's less. It's a quarter of a season. It's not all that much. I was curious if that would move the needle for you at all. But
Our
I can understand
GM
why it
didn't
wouldn't.
know that he wasn't a switch fielder. I don't feel comfortable at all.
Yeah. Yep. Now, do you think, like, just for fun, like, if he had the opportunity to do one of the funniest things and just bat left-handed for his first plate appearance in spring training?
That would be during spring training. No, opening day.
Even better. I mean, just like something, and then just like
at
give
this
like
point.
a thumbs up to the seat, to the box. Like, I'm doing it right. This is why you wanted me.
If he started working on it just because of that, it would have. I'd love it. Also, his brother has communicated. You know, there might be a chance of a double. Both Acuna brothers being on the Sox at some point. So that'd be cool. As we look at their savant pages between Acuna and Hill, you look at those sprint speeds. They're going to be running all over the field.
Yeah.
Once again, the biggest question is what do they bring offensively? You can see that Derek Hill in limited plate appearances does have that sweet spot and that hard hit percentage, but he, in terms of what he's swinging at, it's not great, if you will. So it's very interesting to see now if Teal comes back. I do want to call this out. Teal comes back healthy. Once again, I don't know why we have Reese McGuire, other than if we were going to trade like the likes of Sosa, Antonacci, and Lee, if those three were going to get traded for an actual center fielder if this whole experiment doesn't work out. Otherwise, the moves that they're making don't make a whole lot of sense.
So I asked this question a couple, but like I'm going to list some center fielders in the division. Thumbs up or thumbs down. I'm not going to say Buxton because I feel like is he the best center fielder in the division? I feel confident on that one, but like Parker Meadows. No, okay. Kyle Isbell.
I'm sorry, we're not going to match up to any other center fielder in the division this year.
So it's all thumbs down.
All thumbs down.
So realistically, could they be Kyle Isbell?
That's what I was just about to ask.
Because
if your center fielders this season produce at the level of Kyle Isbell, will that be a success?
I would say yes. It would be a success
Okay.
if we did that. Yes. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm very low, and once again,
and that's because you're really high
happy
on Kyle Isbell, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. I was really happy to see Robert go, but just to not know what you're getting at the plate with any of these guys. The problem with Robert, we didn't know if he was going to play.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys, they're going to play, but how well are they going to play? And I feel like that's a whole different question. Like, I don't want to answer that question because it might be hitting ninth in the lineup, and where we really need to get some, offense was one of the places we need to get better over the course of the last 2 years. So,
if it gives you any hope, Kyle Isbell only had a 654 OPS last year, so like that's not that far from Derek Hill.
Over the course of a whole season, we'll see.
I was about to say you can platoon. You can't platoon because they're both right-handed. Thanks, Luis Angel. But
that's the thing. Brooke Baldwin was having a wonderful spring before he stopped playing. So it's like it sounds like it. Did he start to find his offense and then? Oh, sorry guys, I won't be here this year. So that is that. Once again, 5th place in the division. Was that? Sorry. Another comment?
One thing I wanted to mention real quick is we mentioned Wander Franco back in the earlier days of the podcast. He's getting a new trial on March 30th.
Great.
And I was reading this article on the Rays fan website, and the final sentence of this article is, "One day there will be a conclusion to this story."
Not anytime soon.
Well, his trial's in 8 days, so let's see.
Good.
I don't understand. This is the most cut. We don't need to get into this, but like it is the most cut and dry case of what he's accused of I think I've ever heard.
I think it's like technicalities and appeals and stuff. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it.
The man is guilty. He's cost whatever. We can move on.
That's your opinion, Eric. That he's.
It's
guilty,
not. Everyone has admitted guilt.
And moving into right field, in 2025, our WAR rank was 23rd. We produced negative 1.4 WAR. Also, I just want to call out Mike Talkman, who we did not re-sign, was jogging out to right field for the Mets within the last 3 days, and is now hurt.
Oh.
So, I wish Mike was okay. I hope he's okay, but I'm kind of glad we didn't re-sign him. We were 2nd in our division in WAR. These are the kind of numbers that throw me off. Was our division that bad at right field?
I think
yes.
Outside of like the Tigers, no one has a complete outfield really. Like
Yikes.
The Twins kind of did until they traded away Bader at the trade deadline.
It depends on how you feel about Matt Wallner, who had a down year, but he still had like a 780 OPS. He should be a platoon player, and he's a crappy right fielder. So like that cost him more.
Speaking of platoon players, headlining our right field this year is going to be Austin Hayes, which I got to be honest, I love his attitude. I love how he's been involved. He's been doing. I know he did at least a couple things with MLB, MLB.com. They did like some interesting interview series that he was a part of. He's had a really good spring, it just looks like he signed with us because we were going to give him the most playing time. He wants to prove that he's not just a platoon bat, and even if he is, I think we're still going to benefit in right field. Once again, I brought up the same guys that we saw in other slides with Acuna, with Kelenic, Peters, Hill. I do think he'll get Hayes gets the majority of the starts here in right field. My biggest question is, depending on where we are, how we're performing at the trade deadline, I do wonder if he gets traded. I'd prefer if we just kind of waited until Braden Montgomery is ready to go. I believe he'll be going to Double A to start the season, but he's had a really good spring as well. He is the right fielder of the future, if you will. But at this point, I'm going to just we ended second last year in WAR. Realistically, I'm just going to put us in the middle of the pack at third for this year.
I like how the first thing you had to say about him was that you really like his attitude.
Which is always
It's always it.
red flag.
We have a right fielder. How good is that right fielder going to be against a certain side of at a certain side of the plate? We'll see. We'll see how that turns out.
Let's be outside the Tigers. I think everyone would have been okay signing Austin Hayes. He would have been at least an improvement in one of the corners in their outfield.
And realistically, he could take over for Benintendi long term too. You know.
Let me ask you this question though: is Austin Hayes, and I know the right field, left field, is Austin Hayes a better option than Isaac Collins?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I think so, but that's just because Austin, like you said last week, I think Collins could be.
He's less of a proven quantity,
right?
It's just interesting to me, Hayes going to the White Sox of all the teams in the division for everything everybody's saying here. I'm not anticipating the White Sox making the playoffs. This feels like a guy that you would add to a roster who would help you against left-handed pitching to help you get into the playoffs. And it's the White Sox that took him, not the Royals and not the Guardians, or obviously the two teams.
But the Guardians offered him a contract, but they said that they were going to give more playing time to the kids. So
I don't know that that's true, but I suspect that was he was one of the guys that they were talking to that Antonetti was alluding to, is my guess.
Right.
All of that can be true, but the White Sox only signed him for what, $5 million?
It's not a lot of money.
I bet if Cleveland would have said, "Here's $7," I bet that playing time concern goes out the window. But whatever.
He has communicated that was his top priority. If I'm not getting playing time, I'm not coming to your team, because he wants to prove that he can still do both sides of the bat. Like, that is my genuine take from the situation.
There's a flip side to this, though, that I was trying to allude to, which is that it's clear that the White Sox are in asset accumulation mode. You guys are trying to find as many young players that help you be better 3 years from now, 2 years from now, even next year, and learn what they're about.
Yeah.
But then your outfield, other than Acuna, these guys over 30. And I don't get it, to be quite frank.
I mean, we did flip Austin Slater 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So, there's something there. It could be.
Is this team not better off not playing Derek Hill, Andrew Benintendi, and Austin Hayes and finding out what they have in...
Well, we know what Benintendi has. He has 69 games in him. So that's,
nice.
It's just interesting.
100%, 100%. So like I said, I do think we'll end up third in the division for right field this year. I think one of the other White Sox podcasts that I listened to, they've called Austin Hayes the bridge to Montgomery, the bridge to Braden, if you will. So hoping that he does really well in the minors this year and makes an appearance, worst case, September.
Please tell me that they tagged Austin Hayes with the hashtag bridge to Braden. That would be a very Chicago thing to do.
That would be a very Chicago thing to do. As we look at DH, we were 26th in WAR in 2025 in the league and 5th in the division. Looking at this year, my best projection would be mostly going to Sosa if he's not getting the starts at second or first base. Then you have Benintendi, who's going to be the mainstay in his however many other games he decides to play, or how many games we keep him until he doesn't play for the White Sox anymore. You have Corey Lee. Realistically, we're going to carry 3 catchers on our roster. We've talked about that. We talked about how Lee might play some left field. But between left field and catcher, I don't think I see him playing anywhere else. And then with Teal, when he comes back from his injury, given that he comes back this year, I don't foresee them pushing him immediately to go and catch every other game. I think they'll make him catch every third game. So I could see him being a DH a little bit more often at the beginning of the season. With that being said, Lenine Sosa potentially being the mainstay at the DH position. He is 26. He's gotten a lot better offensively over the course of the last 3 seasons. You're able to see he's gone from 572 OPS, 642, 727. The question is, does he bring enough offensively to prove his worth to be on this team? I think it's given that he's progressed and continued to get better, I think there's a chance. I don't know if his bat will end up being worth offensively what we need in this position. And once again, I would not be surprised if he is part of a trade somewhere in this year.
Does anyone in the division outside of Detroit feel good about their DH? Cleveland, maybe? Is that it?
I'll see how Hoskins does, but I feel I'm optimistic.
Okay. I just feel like there's Kerry Carpenter and then a pretty substantial drop off. And then, like, I was thinking Cleveland might be adequate. And then you just have, like, if Josh Bells plays DH for the Twins, that's okay. But, like, not feeling great about DH for anyone in the division outside of Detroit. But I don't know. We'll see.
And with that, I do believe that we will end up in third in the division in DH war.
Who's above and who's below then?
Well, Detroit obviously above. I think the Royals will be above as well. I would put the Guardians and Twins below. Realistically.
Who's the like? Are you plan? So for the Royals, this is kind of an unfair question, but like you're assuming it's Salvi and Pasquantino.
Whoever needs
Yeah.
needs a day off.
It would be a split between Salvi, Pasquantino, and Jensen at that spot. Is probably what we're going to see.
Yeah.
Who are all probably better than Lenine Sosa, let's be honest.
On his bad days, maybe. With that, brings us to our pitching rotation. Okay. 16th in WAR last year at 0.9 WAR for the league. And then we were 5th in pitching in the division. I actually thought that was really interesting. Is it always the fact that the Central just has just good pitching, or was our pitching just that bad?
Last year, the division had some strong pitching.
I mean, until the sell-off, obviously, for the Twins.
Yes.
But
And even the starting rotation for the Twins wasn't a complete disaster. Just if you hadn't heard, the bullpen was basically the issue the entire year.
What I can say is that Shane Smith was projected as said that he's going to be the opening day starter. We have Anthony Kay coming back over from overseas. Davis Martin has been a mainstay in this rotation for at least the last 2 to 3 years. And then Sean Burke is kind of your question mark as to, is he going to give is he not going to lose the position at some point this year? We do have Eric Fetty, which I want to talk a little bit more about in just a moment. But outside of the people you see on the screen, we have Sean Newcomb, who's starting in the bullpen, but realistically might end up in a starter role sometime this year. And then we have prospects in Hagen Smith and Nola Schultz that might end up in our rotation. When it comes to Eric Fetty, I want to specifically focus on him because Anthony Kay, he's done great this spring. Obviously, it's still is he going to do well against? Is he going to do well consistently? Sean Burke, Davis Martin, Shane Smith, I think we know what we're getting. Fetty, I'm not sure. You look at when he was with us in 2024, all of his numbers were changed. He went from a 5.8 ERA in 22 to a 3.3 in 24, and then immediately went back to those mid fives. I'm hoping that whether it's just being with another guy like Kay from overseas, whether it's he just feels more comfortable not in St. Louis, I'm not sure. But he is 33, so there's a potential that he doesn't make it through the entire season with us. It was just to a 1-year contract as well.
This is a bit of an on-air production meeting, but are you going to talk about pitching prospects? Because I feel like that's going to be my next question when you're talking about Fetty. Is he just buying time for a pitching prospect?
I believe that is 100% the case. Once again, with Hagen Smith, Noah Schultz, they are going. I believe they're both starting in AAA. Because they were supposed to be farther along than they are right now, I decided to just there's only 2 prospects I'm going to talk about at the very, very end, but they are not one of those 2.
Also, not for that, Tanner McDougal he's a 50 grade prospect. That's in AAA. Then you said Smith and Schultz. So like there are some reinforcements.
In the wing, we do have some reinforcements.
David Sandlin, too, should debut this year. They actually have quite a few. They have at least some cavalry, if not just Eric Fetty, because that first slide you showed is not exactly the most impressive set of names you've seen in a rotation, but at least there's some backup coming.
100%.
I do have a question about that. Ty, you did say you kind of feel like you know what you have with Burke, Martin, and Smith. What do you think you have? Like, is this is one of those guys a potential ace? Are they just 3 solid middle of the road pitchers you think you could depend on?
If you
What do you
put,
think you have
other
there?
than Fetty, if you put Kay, Burke, Martin, and Smith on another team, they are a okay 2, if not a good 3.
All 4 of them, you feel like.
Yes,
Fair
100%.
enough. Okay.
And Smith last year, I believe he dipped down towards the August area. He wasn't pitching as well, but he refound himself end of August into September. So I also just think it's getting those reps in as well. With
Building
all
these
that
guys
being
up. I'm sure they pitched more innings last year than they've ever pitched before. I believe
correct,
they had Smith just sit for a few weeks, didn't they, and just kind
I
of rest.
believe so.
Yeah.
With all that being said, with how good the rotations are in our division, I do believe that we will end up in 5th in WAR rank again in starting pitching. But we should set ourselves a good foundation going forward. I will say that. And the last major position we have is relief pitcher. I actually do have 2 slides for this. Last year, we were 14th in WAR rank in the league. We ended up in 4th in our division. I believe we had a lot of relief pitchers last year. But primary to start opening day, Sir Anthony Dominguez, we signed him to a closer role, so he should round out games for us relatively well. We lost a lot of game by 1 run. Our hope is that he's going to help fix that. Jordan Hicks, we received him from, goodness gracious, Boston this offseason, hoping to have a turnaround. I'm not sold on Jordan Hicks. I don't exactly, other than getting Sandlin in that trade, I don't see why Hicks was a target, but we'll see what he can do in a different environment, hopefully some different coaching. Sean Newcomb coming over from the Athletics, I believe he's going to have a good year. Once again, I mentioned he might end up in a starter role, maybe let's say around the trade deadline, if you will. And then we have Jonathan Cannon and Grant Taylor. Grant Taylor was really good after he came up last year. And then Cannon was supposed to be a starter, but it looks like he's going to end up in more of a reliever role. And then you just have a bunch of other names: Drew Thorpe, Kai Bush, Wickelman Gonzalez, Prelander Baroa, Tyler Gilbert, and Brandon Eishert. These are guys that have either been hurt, they're coming back from Tommy John, have just underperformed in general. Um, but we're hoping that they were all going to make some sort of an impact in the rotation or in our bullpen this year. I also do want to call out that we lost Mike Vassell to Tommy John surgery until next season. He was, I believe, our number one or number two in terms of he had like a 1.7 ERA or something along those lines. It really sucks to lose him for the year, but obviously with Tommy John, it sets him up to hopefully come back healthy and pitch really well going forward.
Is he on what's his how many years of do you have before free agency on him?
I want to say it's 2, but I'd have to verify.
What role were you kind of expecting him to play this year? Like, what hole are the White Sox now trying to fill because they don't have Mike Vassell at their disposal? Because I know they kind of used him. It wasn't necessarily the most orthodox way last year.
It was very inconsistent, and that was mainly with not having the dedicated closer role. With having Dominguez this year, what I figured was it was going to be some combination of Newcomb and Vassell in your 7th and 8th innings, which would have been a wonderful back-to-back. But at this point, once again, Newcomb is going to take one of those roles. I could see Newcomb doing 2 innings at a time as he starts to build up. So it might be a 7th and an 8th or a 6th and a 7th. But figuring out, like, Taylor has the potential, Grant Taylor has the potential of being an 8th inning guy. So but he's also really young. So it's just, where are you going to end up? And then obviously Jordan Hicks, if he can return to what his ceiling is, he could definitely be an 8th inning guy as well. But I think we'll end up using him more often in games that we're already losing, and just throw him out there.
There's some options there. It's just a matter of who's going to perform. I get it.
Correct, 100%.
Vassell that was his first year of service, so you got him for another 5 yet.
Another 5. Look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Truly.
So that is our bullpen. Any other questions on our bullpen?
Other than Jordan Hicks, this looks a lot better this year than last year.
Yeah,
Agreed.
sure.
It does. It does.
The White Sox have been running out truly maybe the worst bullpens I have ever seen. The Twins are about to challenge that, I fear, but it's true until Wednesday when the Twins start their season. So
There you go.
You mean Mike Clevenger isn't going to walk in the winning run on opening day this year?
Oh, God.
That was amazing. That was Nolan Jones, if I'm not mistaken. I got to look that up. It might have been Nolan Jones.
I am so happy he's not on our team anymore. With that, couple other things, prospects to look out for. We do have Braden Montgomery. I mentioned him in our right field projection. Realistically, he will be up at least in September. I know they have an ETA on Fangraphs of 2027. They really liked what he did during spring training. I believe he's still with the team as of right now. So this could definitely be someone that you see sooner than later. And
I think it makes a lot of sense for the White Sox just to put Braden on the opening day roster right now, without any question. Go right from Double-A right to the majors, no question.
If Benintendi wasn't on the team, I agree with you.
That's not a contradiction at all, Eric.
I know. That's what I was hoping. I was hoping to get a bigger reaction out of Lee, but just stone face. She's apparently not going for any of my BS right now. So fine.
No,
I mean, the White Sox, the stakes are a lot lower, so why the hell not? You know,
this is fair.
Very true. Very true. But remember, we could still be the Cincinnati Reds of 2025. Keep that in mind.
Or the Kansas City Royals from 2024, who also improved by like 1,000 games in a year.
And then the other prospect to look out for is none other than your WBC shortstop for Italy, Sam Antonazzi. Once again, he plays second, third. He played left field. Realistically, The thing that I'm missing with him is again the offense. It seemed defensively he was doing really well. I believe Sam was the one who pulled off a trick play against. I don't remember what team they were playing against, but he dove for a ball that was not going through.
Yes.
And he ended up throwing out the runner at first. That was awesome. But once again, another guy to look out for. Even though he doesn't have a lot to offer, he does. He's going to be a great addition later this year. And with that, I have just a couple of closing thoughts on kind of where the White Sox are, where they're going to be this year. I think that we definitely will, and we're going to transition into the offseason or the projection for this year. But when you look at each position for the Sox, we are in a much better position than we were previously. We just still have questions to answer. When you look at other teams in the division, I think a lot of you guys have a lot more mainstays other than the Twins, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this year plays out. I will mention it later as well when we do talk about over-unders, but I think it's really hard to call whether 67 games is realistic or not.
This seems like
Sam, you are muted, by the way.
I think we've talked about this a couple of times too. This feels like the season for the White Sox where they don't really they don't have expectations yet, but like they're no longer in the F it who cares phase. They're like in the hey, we might be good in the next year or so. Like let's take this a little bit
more seriously. Yep.
So like signing in Austin Hayes and getting rid of Robert and all of that, like that kind of puts them in that direction. But I don't know what anyone else thinks.
It's time to start learning what we have here. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I reacted to the outfield the way I did. Like, let's see what we got. Let's see. Some of these guys are going to be good. We need to figure out which ones they are.
What win total would you consider a success for the White Sox this year?
We're jumping on this already.
If the White Sox, well, I mean, again, and to be complete, I'm not firing a shot at you, Ty. The White Sox improved by 19 games in 2025. That's a big improvement. Now, again, there was nowhere to go but up. If the White Sox improved by another 10 games, I mean, that would what would you like to see the Sox do in your heart of hearts?
I'll approach it this way. The ceiling is 500.
Okay.
81 and 81. I think that's the best case scenario. That might also be with getting rid of maybe one or two guys at the deadline, right? Mm-hmm. Reinforcing our minors. What is realistic?
Mm-hmm.
I think 70. I really believe 70 is realistic. I think that there's a lot of fight in this team. The guys enjoy being together. The whole culture issues that we had, going back to Lance Lynn and the bullpen and all of that, we don't have to worry about any of that anymore, at least that I know of. And as Eric brought up earlier, we do have guys in our minors that could be ready to jump. It just give us a reason to. So once again, we may not know exactly what we have on our major league roster, but given that we don't like the answer, we do have backups. Worst case scenario is, I think, just repeating last season, having another 100 losses, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't.
I'll tell you what, I'm not. I think the White Sox are going to be the good, bad team this year. They're going to be the bad team that somehow, wins more games than they should, and you're going to look up and you're going to go, oh, wow, the White Sox took 2 out of 3 against the Mariners this weekend. I can't believe it. Or
against the Royals this weekend.
The White Sox, the White Sox were 1 run away from winning 2 out of 3 against the Royals, or something like that. I think we're going to see a lot of that with the White Sox, and I think that they are going to be the good, bad team.
How did you feel about the second half last year, Ty?
One more time, Dan.
How did you feel about the second half last year of this season?
It was so nice to have hope again.
If you extrapolate their win percentage from the second half last year into a full season, the White Sox win 70 games last year.
Yep.
What I was even more struck by when I just looked this up is they had a positive run differential in the second half last year. They had a +3.
I mean, once again, we lost, I want to say 28 one-run games. So it's not like they were all runaways. And if we win half of those, what do we talk? Like, it's a whole different conversation.
The White Sox last year, I think, moved from being a bad team to a not good team, but they're annoying to play. They're still a
You
bad
should beat
team,
them.
but,
All we can hope for.
they're
You
still
should beat them, but it won't be a complete. It'll be frustrating when you don't beat them, but you kind of see it.
In 24, and we've talked about the we think the White Sox are going to improve. Those wins have to come from somewhere. In 24, the Royals went 12-1 against the White Sox. In 25, the Royals went 10-3. So, if the White Sox keep making these little improvements, I mean, I don't know, is going 9-5 against a team in the AL Central against the White Sox, is that going to be enough to make the difference? Who knows?
The other thing I want to point out, our biggest issue for the last 5 years has been injuries. Not that we had guys that weren't able to produce, it's the fact that we didn't know if they were going to be there. So if we now have at least a team of guys we know are going to be on the field, minus Benintendi, what does that look like?
I have a question. Who will be, and we're not really doing this with our predictions, so I'm just putting you on the spot, Ty. I apologize. But
Okay.
who will be the White Sox MVP? Like, who is the player you feel best about? Like, this is the guy that's like, he had a great season. This is part of our future moving forward. If you had to pick one individual.
Can I hijack your question?
Sure.
You cannot say Colson Montgomery.
I was going to let him, but that's fine.
See, to me, I think that's
That's cool.
wait. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when you talk about, like, positive signs for the future, even if Murakami has a great year, like, I don't see that as a success. He's not going to re-sign. He's not staying in Chicago. So my original, like, if you asked me this 2-3 weeks ago before the WBC, it was Kyle Teal. So, now what? I hope it's Colson. I really do. I really, really do. And if we have the second best shortstop in this division for the next 5 years, I'm happy. Honest to God.
Does Murakami play more than 1 year with the White Sox, in your opinion, Ty?
100%.
Or does he get traded in the offseason if he hits the cover off the ball in year one?
The only way he gets traded is the trade deadline of 27.
Okay.
So now, do you not think he can re-sign with Chicago? Because I kind of I said the same thing for Skubal, so maybe this is the kiss of death. But like, I don't see why the White Sox couldn't extend him if he's a decent.
How much? So our ownership changes in 3 to 4 years to Justin Ishbia.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Ishbia is going to put the money down for that contract, I don't think it's realistic.
But that feels like something Ishbia would do.
Sorry.
He might.
Ishbia might say, here's this money. You're going to use this to sign Murakami.
It's a potential. And you could see us getting at least one Japanese player every year or two. I think I really like that roster plan, but we'll see. Once again, as long as Jerry Reinsdorf owns the team, I cannot confidently say that that's going to happen.
Well, he ain't getting any younger, so let's knock on wood. Any closing thoughts on the White Sox?
Please go win 70 games. That's all.
Okay, well, that's probably as good as a transition as
or be annoying. I like you guys.
Be annoying is a good one.
Yeah, that's always fun. It is very satisfying to be a bad team, to beat a good team, and you to see all the fans of the good team be like, "How did we lose to them?" It's very funny.
That little bit of lack of calibration takes a little bit to catch up. Yeah. Okay, so games start Wednesday. Finally, We've all made it.
We made it, guys. Congratulations.
I know. I'm really excited for this. Like, even just it's open. Like, there's not a better day than opening day. It just now, granted, I don't expect my team to do that well, but it's still fun to actually have like baseball to watch every day. That matters because I love spring training. I do. I'm over it though. Like,
Who has
I
a
want
Netflix
games to matter.
subscription to watch the first game? By the way,
Oh, jeez. My parents have Netflix, but I can't access it because of the location crap that they do. And I'm not paying for it on my own. So,
Well, sad day.
I bought it to watch Stranger Things and then canceled it after a month. I'm not buying it again.
All right, so over-unders are out. They've been out for a while. So we thought what we should probably do that we've previewed the entire division team by team. I think my quick math before, I think we have previewed about 125 players through the five of us. So you can't get much more in-depth than that. So good on all of us. So now we're going to kind of put our theoretical money where our theoretical mouth is, and we're going to look at the FanDuel projections and then hit the over-under, and then also we're going to predict what their end-of-season record is. And I'm going to do a twist because I feel like being a jerk. We cannot pick the same record, so we're going to snake draft it.
Wow.
dang.
Come on.
I want actual differences. So that way at the end of the year, you can all say, what a stupid rule. I had it right in my mind and Eric made me pick something else. Boo. I don't care. It's my rule. I'm making it up. So on the screen right now, we have FanDuel's over-unders. We only went with FanDuel because I think that's just what Sam looked up. And
That's just what I use.
too lazy to look up. So they have Detroit winning the division at 85.5, Kansas City at 82.5, the Guardians 78, the Twins 72, and the White Sox 67. So one instant reactions to that. I'm gonna guess Dan might have a thought.
Those are
keep
some
doubting.
predictions.
Two words. Keep doubting. Do this every year.
Can I ask something real quick? Is there anyone
How
outside of
many times have we in the guard projected losing?
Is there anyone outside of me who regularly gambles on this podcast?
I'll do it once in a while.
Okay, yeah.
Negative.
And I regularly might be too much
Once
for
a week.
what I do, but I like to gamble every now and then. So I will actually, for each of these, I will put a little action on my prediction as
All
far
right.
as the over under to put my, maybe like $5
Actual
a pop.
money where his mouth is.
Yeah, $5 a pop, I think, for these over unders. So that will be my what I'm doing here.
So I think what we'll do, we will start in the 2025 division order. So your defending Central Division champions, the Cleveland Guardians, can pick first. And then
way
we're
more
going
than 78.5 games again.
So, do we want to do Detroit? All of us do Detroit first, and then
Let's
we
do
can
that.
Okay, so we're all going to pick Detroit. So we're just talking Detroit. Detroit has 85.5. They've spent about $1 bajillion this offseason. They brought back Justin Verlander. Kevin McGonigal is going to probably maybe not be on the opening day roster. They have an exciting team. 85.5. We're going to go Dan, and then Lee, Sam, me, and then Ty. Dan.
For my own clarity, I'm giving you two answers. I'm giving you an over and under, and I'm giving you a record.
Why don't we just do? Yeah, we could do that, and then we'll snake draft it. Then we'll go
Yeah.
back. Yeah. Yep. So
I
Dan.
have Detroit over at 91 wins. So they'd be what, 91 and 71?
Yeah,
One.
you need to change the font size there.
Yes, I do. Okay. Just a little on-air editing. That's fine. Everyone likes that, right? That's good. That's good audio.
Looks good.
Okay.
If
Okay.
if you can't see this because you're on Spotify, trust me, it looks good now.
Hey, thanks. If you are hearing this, I'm going to try to muffle my mouse click so you don't go blind in one of your eardrums from 1,000 clicks. Lee, as the runner-up division winners for 2025.
I am
Over.
going to. I'm going to say the over because I don't see a world in which they win fewer games than they did last year. And I am going to say 92 wins, I think, is very possible. So that's 5 more wins than they had last year.
92 and 70. Sam.
I think it's safe to say we're probably all going to be taking the over on the Tigers. I'll take the over on the Tigers, and I think that they are going to not only hit the over, they're going to hit the over by a significant amount. I think they're going to win 95 games.
Ooh, all right. 162 minus 95. 'Cause I'm not that good at math. That is 95 and 57.
67.
Six. Nope, you're right, because I hit 152. Good for me. Look how professional I am doing this. Okay, me. I'm going over. This is where I got in trouble last year because everyone goes over, and I want to be different from all of you, and I don't think I can do it.
This is not the time to be different.
No, it's not. I'm going to do... When I say this is going to be low, it's going to be low compared to... I'm going to do 89... 89 and 73.
You took
98 would be a great season, by the way.
I was about to say, that would be very...
that would be
Congratulations,
very
Lee.
encouraging. Tie.
I already said this during our Tigers preseason. If any team has the potential of blowing up, it's Detroit. Of underperforming.
Do it. Do it.
Do it,
I'm
Ty.
going under.
Do it. Yes.
Thank God I'm not the only one this year. Yes. Love this.
And their record will be exactly 85 and 77.
Dang.
They're not giving the rest of the division what they deserve.
Love it.
I will say one thing real quick. On FanDuel, you can also, for some of these like win total, they give you like 90 plus wins, 100 plus wins, and so on. Some of the teams, they have the X team to break the record for most wins in a season. They don't have that as an option for the Tigers. And I kind of feel, and I'm not saying that the Tigers are going to do that, but I kind of feel like if you're looking at teams that are going to contend this year for the World Series, the Tigers are one of them. And so I feel like that bet should at least be an option for them.
For the record, the Tigers' win record is 104 in the season.
There you go.
They're not the Dodgers and they're not the Giants. That's all
I don't, but there are some teams that I don't think are as good as the Tigers where that bet is an option. Like the Mariners have that as a bet, 117 plus.
Because they want people to take it.
I
Right.
I
I
understand.
mean, there's
that.
part of that too.
Yeah.
Then you also have like the Yankees are always like a couple games over than what they're projected because they expect New York fans to always do the over, all that good stuff. So there's game within the game.
Mm-hmm.
Again, another little on-air production meeting. Because it's the Royals next, we want to give Sam first right and then Snake drafted, or just start with Ty.
We didn't do that with Lee, did we?
Am
I
yeah,
losing my
to
mind?
go with Ty.
You went-
Oh, you're right. We didn't.
Yeah,
You're right.
no,
Yep, that would be
go
unfair
with
to me.
Ty.
Sorry,
Go with
I
Ty.
went for the
Come on,
bits
Eric.
instead of what the thing is. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go to Ty then. Kansas City 82.5.
So, as we've discussed, the White Sox are the little brother of the Kansas City Royals, and based on this WBC, I can't do anything but be a mini Royals fan, if you will. I'm going to say over. And I'm not sure how my math is going to work out, so please don't judge me. I'm going to go 86 and 76.
That does
Yep.
work out.
That is correct.
Hi, do you have
And
the Royals
it's
winning the
because
division?
of them losing 15 of their last 20 games.
was about to say this. It's telling a story, Ty.
Uh-huh. Ty, you know what? You and me, buddy. You're starting to grow on me.
It took until he didn't like you until
Well,
this
hold on
moment, but right now
You've known each other for 5 months
There's
now.
always
but-
something. There's always something.
This story isn't quite over yet. There might be another leg to this story yet. Another second act, if you will. We'll see. I'm intrigued.
Um,
Come on,
I
Eric,
like
be
Kansas
different.
City. I do like Kansas City. I'm really nervous over their starting rotation falling apart suddenly, and they have no minor league backups for a floor. So
Well,
I can really see
hold
them
on.
taking a step back.
Before you make you just said that. At the beginning of this podcast, I talked about Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek and Luinder Avila being sent down to the minors. Those are three guys that the team is very high on that could be starters for other teams. So go ahead and make your prediction, but I'm just going to put that out there for you.
Okay, I'm not going to go like super under. So like I think they're 82 and a half. I think so I'm going to go under. However, I don't think they're going to backslide that much. I am worried about their starting rotation because they're going to need 10 starting pitchers to get through the year. I think their offense is fine. They have a lot of life. I think their offense can carry them if, like, let's say a Lugo or Waka or all the other 10 names that I always bring up. But you just had, oh my God, what's his name? Who was out all last year. Not Reagan's, the other one.
Lugo?
No, not Lugo, the other hard-throwing
Waka?
guy. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Eric, all I can say is that Sam and I are both disappointed in you. That's all I'm saying.
I'm okay with that. Well, I'm sorry. To be fair, I'm not like super critical of them. I still think they have a good floor. I just don't know what the upside is if that starting pitcher if the rotation takes a backslide.
All right. Give me the over.
And
90. 90 wins. 90 and
love it.
whatever that would be. 72. 90 and 72.
An AL Central team winning 90 games. That's not the Detroit Tigers.
Let me put this here, and I think this is a very interesting over-under because it's at 82 and a half. The Royals won 82 games last season. So this over-under is basically asking you, will the Royals win one more game than they did last season?
MJ Melendez.
I think, again, that's all you need to say, Ty. MJ Melendez is not on the team anymore. Can we win one more game with the absence of MJ Melendez? I think we can. So I am smashing that over.
Lee.
I am going to take the over. Are we doing that thing where we can't pick the same record as someone else?
Correct.
Is that it?
Unless you
All
guys really want to like throw a mutiny on me,
No,
like
I like you have to choose different. I like that.
Okay.
And
then
also,
I'm
is there
going-
that much of a difference, Lee? Do you really want to stick with Naira's like, well, 89 wins kill you?
No. I'm going to say the over, and I'm going to say, oh man. I wanted to say 86, so I'm just deciding if I wanted to go with 85 or 87. I think I'm going to go with 85. I think they're going to either be the 6th seed wild card or the first team out and miss the playoffs. I think that's what it's going to be. I think the AL East is going to tear itself apart, and one of those teams isn't going to make it, and the Royals could very well sneak in there.
Sam, you might want to check those odds on the Kansas City wild card.
What are the odds on the Kansas City Royals? That is an interesting.
That sounds cool. Anyway,
Well, you're looking that up, Dan.
To make the playoffs, the Royals are plus 120. So pretty close to even odds.
I was about to say, was that 40%?
Yeah.
40 or 60?
Tigers are minus 144 to
Yeah,
make
so
the
that-
playoffs.
okay.
that makes sense.
Dan. Are you there?
You're on me.
He's just in deep thought.
Oh, there you are. Yes, it's on you.
All right. Sorry, I got locked up there for a second. Royals, I have over. I too was going to go with 86 wins. That is gone twice now.
Yes.
So we're going to go lower as opposed to higher. We're going to go with 84 wins. Um, you know, I've been pretty positive about the Royals offseason for the most part, but now I look at it at the end and Isaac Collins, Lane Thomas, are these really needle moving moves? I mean, they are in the sense that I think the floor is a little higher, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough
They
to
are
really
in the sense that they're
promote.
not MJ Melendez.
Is
Did he
Lane
like?
Is Lane Thomas and Isaac, a 26-year-old, 27-year-old guy who was just a rookie, really worth 90, getting up to 90 wins? I don't know, man. I don't see that. So over, but
Did
84.
MJ Melendez kick your cat or something, Sam? Like,
he just was bad. He was really, really bad. But I
Look around
am
me again.
really interested to see what Dan says about the Guardians.
I was about to say this one. I'm waiting for Dan
Yeah,
to just like the volcano rage meme. Like, I'm just waiting. He's wearing red.
So I want to make this juxtaposition because I said that about the Royals. This really shows how people, entities, whatever you want to call them, really equate spending or making moves and making acquisitions with trying. The Royals made some moves, and apparently, because you made some moves, that means you're going to be a better team than the team that just won the division, solely off the fact that the Guardians didn't really do anything. That's how I read this situation, is that no splashy moves, no interest. We're going to make the Guardians over under lower. So you're not going to get a lot of fire and brimstone on me on this, but I do think it's a bit disingenuous or a little bit not the reality of the situation. I have the Guardians over. I have them at 87 wins for next year, or for this year. Not quite division winners, but I do think that would be good enough to get them into the wild card at 87.
This is going to look so bad if not a single one of us win more than 80 games.
That's going to be really hard, considering the division as a whole has to be 500 at the end of the year, which means like we would all have to have like all terrible losing records.
If there was one year where we'd all beat up on each other, I think this would be it. Just calling that out.
Wasn't it in 2023 where there was only one team above 500 and they were like 85 or something?
Yep. Okay, Eric.
It was us. We hoisted that division title.
And then you got swept by the Yankees?
I'm,
yes.
I'm pretty sure it's rusted out by now. I don't think that was true metal in that division title, but it's the flag is there. Does that count? Count for something. All right, who is it? The second place Detroit Tigers. Go ahead.
I'm going to strangle you one of these days.
I'm 1,200 miles away. I am
Just
not
prove
scared
us
at
wrong.
all.
Just prove us wrong. That's all it takes.
Look.
Go ahead, Lee. Go under. Yeah, I know you want to. I know you.
No, I don't. I don't want to go under because I know it's just going to come back and bite me. I know. Look, they keep doing what they keep doing, and it's, you look at the lineup, you look at the roster, and if I stand by what I said a few weeks ago, if you remove the Cleveland Guardians team name from the top of the baseball reference page, there is no reason to assume that this team would win 85 games. But it's the Cleveland Guardians. You know they're going to find a way, right? I don't know. I feel like they could go anywhere. I feel like they could win 75 games or 85 games, and I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. However, I am going to take the over, but not by much. I am going to say they're going to be 81 and 81.
No, come on, Lee.
Everyone is collectively mad now.
Lame.
This is it's the shoe has got to drop sometime. The coin flip is going to stop landing on its side.
They can't keep doing this.
Fall apart at
Yeah,
some
I was
point.
Lee is slowly turning into Jesse from Breaking Bad. They can't keep getting away with this.
No, that's how I felt for the last 3 weeks of the season last year. I am so sick of it.
Lee, I also like how you said this coin flip has to stop. But you said you finished it with on its side, but I like how you went literally a 500 record and like finally this coin has to hit the other side.
Well, let me do this. My mom and I regularly quote Jesse Pinkman to each other. And the thing that we often say is, "That's a bold plan, Mr. White." Cleveland Guardians, that's a bold plan. Just do nothing and then expect everyone to think you're going to have a good season because you're the Guardians. At some point.
Oh, no, they got to him.
Yep, I was about to say. Was that
We're locked in.
This is where we find out that Dan pulls out an Ethernet cord and be like, "What was that, Sam?" Like,
no, I want to thank Sam's ISP because he was about to give the most trash take of 2026, and now we don't have to hear it.
So I'm going to assume he's saying under. And also, this is like, Sam, are you back?
Fancy running into you guys here.
You literally, as you were about to say over or under, you cut out. So we missed whatever I assumed under.
And he said
that was a tease. That was a
take.
dramatic pause, a tease, as they call it in the industry. Guardians are going under.
Wow.
This season. And not only are they going to go under, they're going to go under by about 5 or 6 games.
Oh my goodness.
Give me 73 wins for the Guardians.
Ooh.
Those are some fighting words.
And here's my logic. I've said this earlier. The Guardians had a lot that kind of, they had a lot of momentum. They had a lot of things that, went right. They had a lot of on the field, off the field type stuff last year. And now, after you have a year where you have a lot of emotion, a lot of, sort of gufta and panache and pizzazz and whatever you want to call it, you might have a year where you take a little step back. So I think that's what the Guardians are going to do this year.
Bro, what?
Do you want to know the last time the Guardians had a record that bad?
That's what I was actually looking up.
Manny Ector was the manager, I believe.
2023, they were 76 and 86, and then these are just their win totals from 2025. I'm just going to go back. 88, 92, 76, I just said. 92,
2012 is how far you have to go back in order to get a record as bad as 73.
Where your best player is Jason Kipnis.
What's wrong with Jason Kipnis?
That is yeah. What? Oh, there's a name from the past. That is my prediction, and I think again the Guardians.
Surely this will be the year.
Again, the Guardians. Well, I happen to be a Kansas City Chiefs fan, Dan, and a lot of people kept saying, "Surely this will be the year where the Chiefs don't go to the Super Bowl." And guess what? This was the year where that happened. So
back next year.
The 2024 Chiefs of the can't keep getting away with this caught up to them in 2025.
Precisely.
Sam, where do you like to eat? Where's a restaurant that you enjoy partaking in some food?
I'm a big fan of Buffalo Wild Wings.
If the Guardians win 73 games or less, I will DoorDash you Buffalo Wild Wings.
What a man.
Clip that. That sounds excellent.
So also, I would like to point out that the what's the Twins FanDuel over under, and you think, the Guardians are on that level. Okay, that is noted. That gives me hope. Thank you, Sam.
Eric, don't test me because we're about to get to the Twins.
No.
Okay.
Oh no!
All right.
This is just getting spiteful. If you think Dan dislikes my prediction for the Guardians, just wait, buddy.
Uh-oh.
What's that? Is that your internet breaking up again? I can't. What's going on?
I'm in danger.
All right. It's me. The Guardians can keep getting away with this up until proven otherwise. I'm not going to tell you I'm super high on the Guardians, but I do think like this happens every year. Every year they think they're going to be terrible or mediocre, and they just scrap their way to a division title. They're in their they're constantly second place until they're first place, and then you just want to strangle them. So with that, I'm going 84-78. I don't think they're much above, but I also think 78 is a really low over/under for them.
I just want to point out that if anybody's been traumatized by the Guardians, it's Eric.
It's the Twins, that's right.
Just number of one-run games.
Well, the Twins alone will bring them above those 6 games.
So here's the thing about the Guardians with them doing so well last year. And once again, I was quoted several weeks ago saying something along the Guardians will continue to get away with this. However,
you did give them a B for their offseason.
3 teams in this division got better. I'm hoping everyone agrees with that. So
do it.
They will go over.
Oh God.
But they're only going to win 80 games. 80 and 82. Now, when Detroit falls off a cliff next year, they'll be right back in the first place.
When?
But,
Jeez. Way to have
sorry, Lee. You're losing your best pitcher of your second best pitcher of your roster history. Oh, and then I'm next. Look at that. Minnesota. Is Eric going to hate me for this?
Oh, I have kicked Lee off for insulting Culvers, so let's all keep that in mind.
Even though I'm a huge fan, I actually did do some Twins trivia in the last week, and I was scoring like 80% every time. Just calling that out. I am a Twins enjoyer. They are going to go under. Just calling out that bullpen. You got rid of Hendricks. Now I have a personal vendetta against you.
They have Antonetti, probably, maybe.
Will they have him in May?
Altavilla will be traded at the trade deadline. Their end of season record, they will not lose 100 games, but they will lose 99. 63 and 99 is my take.
Dang.
This team is not that good. I'm sorry. I won't be surprised when I'm wrong, but they're yikes.
I don't think this is a good team, but I should say, like, it's almost, I feel like it's going to be the opposite of last year. So you had the Twins who had expectations up until, well, they didn't. Then they traded away the entire team. And then they had no one to replace them with. This year is different. 12 of their top 30 prospects on MLB.com are in AAA. And there's a few more in AA ready to come up. And that's not even including Culpepper, who I think is in AAA, but I think they have him in AA. It is very likely that this team is absolutely atrocious to watch. And then the trade deadline will happen. They'll trade away 3 of their good remaining players. They're really going to test if Byron Buxton means he wants to stay in Minnesota for his career, if he's going to be punished for that loyalty, or what they're going to do there. So this is me going to be optimistic, but I'm not going to be optimistic. I'm going to go over. Wow. But it's going to be a 73 win team. So that is a 73 and 89.
Eric, is there any reality where they win anything other than between 63 and 73?
Yeah, but it's going to take
everything else.
It's going to take Detroit. It's going to take like Detroit slipping. I'm even just looking at my logic on here because like eventually like my wins have to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So if the young talent comes up earlier and they're great and they overachieve, and if the bullpen by some miracle is league average instead of abhorrent, maybe they get there. The rotation should keep them in games. but even that's not as sound as it was.
Pay attention.
And then I do have a little bit of hope for the offense with Buxton, Keishel, and then once you start getting Rodriguez and Jenkins and Culpepper and like all the slew of those, and you get rid of the Larnacks, Josh Bell is still a thing. He's been very consistent for his career, except for that. Well, he's been hot and off and on, but he's been pretty good for 20, 25 home runs and a 250 batting average pretty consistently. So is there hope for a 500 team? Yes. Has that taken a hit when Pablo Lopez went down? Absolutely.
I'm with Sam on this one.
It's nice to have dreams. Whatever helps you sleep at night.
All right, first off, I said that's the scenario it happens. I didn't say it was likely. And keep in mind, I went over by half a game. Let's not construe this into I am high on this team.
Well, Eric, you said that the 81 and 81 Twins exist. I don't think that's the case. Give me the under.
Mm-hmm.
And Ty, you didn't want to predict that the Twins would lose 100 games. Well, I do want to predict that the Twins are going to lose 100 games, 62 and 100.
Keep in mind, he's putting $5 on this. That's a take.
Well, to be fair, he only has to bet under. He's not doing the exact total.
Good point.
Lee.
All right. So I went and I did a little bit of crunch some numbers for you.
Oh.
After August 1st of 2025.
Oh God, I don't want to see these again.
The Minnesota Twins went 19 and 35.
Mm-hmm.
Over the course of a full season, that is 57 wins.
Yep.
Do I think they will win more than 57 wins? Yes, I do, because I think technically they did improve a little bit over the offseason. You know, there's other.
That's very generous of you, but thank you.
However, if you look at the presumption they are going to be dealing away their best players at the trade deadline. After the trade deadline, in the months of August and September this year, they are playing teams such as the Mariners, the Royals, the Tigers twice, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Giants, the Guardians. That is not an easy schedule to have after you presumably lose your better players. I do not think there is a world in which this team wins more games than they did last year. Last year, they had a record of 70 and 92. There is not a world in which they win more games than that. I am not going to say this is a 100-loss team, but I am going to say that they are going to lose 95 games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 67 and 95. Dan.
Make the right decision, Dan.
I feel like the Twins have been talked a lot about, like they're the White Sox from 2 years ago, and I don't think it's that deep. Is this a good baseball team? Probably not. There's just not enough talent there. They've done some decent things to kind of to provide some respectability with bringing in Bell and Carantini and a couple of relievers, but ultimately, it's just that it's not a very good team. I've got under, and I've got 66 wins is still on the board, so I'll go with 66 wins. 66 and 96.
That's respectable.
Okay. And finally, the White Sox. And it's Dan to you.
Thank you. So, alternatively, this is going to seem funny, but under, but only because I think they're going to have 67 wins. I think.
Okay, you're putting us above the Twins. Thank you. Okay.
The White Sox are on a trajectory up, but where they were coming from was pretty low, and the Twins are on a trajectory down, but it's not quite as steep. And I think you're going to pass each other this year along the way, and I think the White Sox are just a touch better than the Twins at this point in time.
Fair. Lee.
I do think that the White Sox are going to end up with a better record than the Twins, but not by much. I think it's going to be... I think I am worried about like lack of depth, especially in the pitching department. So just like one little thing goes wrong and it kind of all goes back downhill. I mean, it is interesting how the FanDuel projections put them at 7.5 games above their record was last year. I'm going to put them at, just for the meme, I'm going to put them at 69 wins, and also because Ty won 70, and I want to put them on under. Put them on under 70, but over the 75, the 67 or whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Oh, wait, that's under. Wait a minute. Oh, my goodness, I'm a mess. I'm an absolute mess. 69, 93 under. Okay, Sam.
Over. That's over.
I mean, you're like bros now, right? Like you have your own handshake.
It's supposed to be.
I'm so to be clear, I'm taking the over on the White Sox. The thing I'm debating is whether or not I want to put them ahead of the Guardians.
Oh
That's
my
a fair
God.
question. That's a fair question.
Couldn't do it.
I'll say this. What was the White Sox win total last year? Was it 60 exactly?
Yeah.
13, 14 wins is a lot.
29 games lost in one-run games.
Yes. So they're going to win some more of those games where they lost by 1 run, but not that many. So give me 72 and 90 for the White Sox.
Okay.
72 and 90. Oh my goodness, why can I not add a dash?
Hyphen, Eric.
We're doing it. Okay, I did it. Who put me in charge of the spreadsheets? That was a really poor decision. I'm going to go over on the White Sox. I don't think. Well, I think 67 is just low for over-unders. Do I think they're better than the Twins? No, but I think they're even with the Twins.
Wow.
I don't think my math adds up at all.
Tied for fourth. Okay.
I was about to say, no one's fifth.
Tied for
Everyone
fourth
gets a
or tied
trophy.
for fifth. It's all about perspective, right? Either way, you're tied for last.
Does it end up that everyone voted for their team to have the best record? Is that really where I'm going to close out with? That's kind of sad.
I had the best like for their own team.
In terms of
everyone
Lee has
everyone
Tiger
picked the over for
I mean, yes,
their
there's-
own team.
There's a little hopium in all this, yes.
Sam 90 for the Royals. Dan has 87 for the and then so here we go. Let's close it out. We're going over. And we are going to go 74 and 88.
Just one game over the Twins. That's funny. Which is still 14 game. Name another team,
Still
maybe
a
in
good
like
improvement.
history, that improved by 15 plus games 3 years in a row, or like 14 or 15 games 3 years in a row. Does it happen? No, but this is also we're talking.
I mean, when you're starting from the literal bottom, it's
The
very
literal
easy
lowest.
to climb up over the course of multiple years. Also, you got to change mine to over for the Sox because I have 69, which is greater than 67.
That's right. All right, that's right. Because I could not type.
Look at that.
Okay, so I think that's all we're gonna
Before we
see.
move off this,
What was that, Dan?
I got our aggregate totals here, in case you guys are curious. Detroit wins the division with 90 wins. Kansas City finishes second with 85. Cleveland third with 81. The White Sox fourth with 71, and Minnesota last with 66 wins.
Okay,
think
if you
that's
remove
very-
Sam's points for the Royals and Guardians, I feel like that ends up being swapped because I think he's a very clear outlier here.
For the Guardians?
Well, I'm on the
I had 84.
podcast, Lee. So
But yeah, the 73 and 80, that will be interesting. I do like the firm stance. I do like it. I don't agree with it, but I do like it.
You think the Royals are going to be 17 games better than the Guardians?
That's just how much
Yeah.
he thinks of Isaac Collins and Lane Thomas, Lee. That's what
True.
that's about.
I also like how 95, 90 wins are Detroit and Kansas City, and then it's just immediate. There's a clear separation, which could very well be true. Like, I do like the scenarios that are playing out. I have a more even division. I think Ty has a more even division.
Dan has probably the widest. No, well, Sam has the widest variation, and then Lee's pretty even keel. But no, I like it. We'll see.
Here's the thing. Someone's got to be bad. There's got to be a team in MLB that's really, really bad.
Correct. There is. And also, not for nothing, I know I took the over on the Twins, but again, I took it by half a game. I certainly don't think that this is going to be a good team. Is there a world in the sense of if you run this season 10,000 times, the Twins make the playoffs in one of those 10,000 seasons? Sure, but anyway, those are over-unders. But now I have to get this muscle off again because we're not quite done because we got games this week that actually count for the records and the baseball cards. So starting with your defending division winners, the Cleveland Guardians. And that joke will keep going on for as long as the Guardians are not, or as long as the Guardians are in first place. So maybe by the end of the week, but we'll see.
So like 3 days.
Yeah.
Or will they? Because I keep this go like they won't lose the division until like September. So
yeah, that's true.
I can keep this going. So Cleveland opens up in Seattle and then at LA. Good luck, Dan. That is not. Actually, at least you get the Dodgers out of the way.
I think it's really funny. The Tigers last year opened against the Dodgers and then went to Seattle versus the Mariners are doing Seattle and LA to start off the season. That's kind of funny.
And they get the full roster Dodgers and not just half our guys are hurt right now.
Before everyone gets injured.
This looks pretty good for me at least.
It'll be a tough start to the season. If they can come out as 3 and 4.
7 straight losses to start off the season for the Guardians, you think?
No.
2 and 4 is a good first week, 100%.
Yeah, I don't think
0-7
bad of an outcome. 0-7. Okay. Wow. Well, next, the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers opening up in San Diego and then to Arizona. I would be a little angry to have the late night games right away. I'm not gonna lie.
It's annoying.
The rare Sunday day off too.
That is,
Well, I'm just glad at least that I don't have a night game on the Sunday because I have my 8:30 class on Mondays. So at least there's that.
Sure. Okay. Kansas City going to Atlanta, and then the dreaded Minnesota Twins come to town on the 30th. That will be our first season prediction, but we have that next week when we predict. The Twins open up in Baltimore. I'm really going to try to make that game, but I still have some convincing to do in the house. And then they go to Kansas City. Chicago opens up in Milwaukee, and then going to Marlins. And that is the end of the offseason in spring training. We've done
We're
it.
here, guys.
Made it.
We did it.
We did it. Now it's no longer our inaugural season. We're on episode 53. So if you go with there's 52 weeks in a year, we've passed that threshold. We've had more than 52 episodes, but if you count live streams and all of that, but we've done it for officially the entire year and going into year 2. So we've done it. This is the exciting time. This is where I get to be in denial and say that even bad teams don't know they're bad in April, and then May is going to happen, and then I'm going to just agree that the Twins have been terrible this whole time. It'll be a